Hey everybody, this is Joe over at S17, and today I want to talk to you about one of our new products. It's the S17 Rhinestone Maker. It's basically a Corel VBA macro to help automate some of the rhinestone making tasks. So I'm just going to this first video is just going to be an overview of some of the features and just kind of like what are the tools on it. And we'll cover that. And then some of the other videos I'll go in there and show you exactly how to use them. So I wanted to keep it real simple. I wanted to do the things that we needed to do, but I don't want to overcomplicate it. So here's what we have here. This is of course just a title here, and this is the size of your stones. I have it set some predefined values for like SS10. It's 0.127, and if you don't like these values, we have an advanced option that will give you some more control over it. The choose color here is basically by default it's going to leave a black stone. If you want to change the color, you can click on this button here and it has the palette. You can choose what color you want. You want a blue or you want a green, and hit OK, and you'll notice that'll be the color of the stone that you lay down. It's just as easy to highlight the stones and use your palette over here to change them as well. So this will just lay them down this color. We have a drop one stone feature, so you can just click wherever you want, and then when you're ready, hit escape. It'll take you out of that mode. Check overlap. The check overlap feature allows you to see if stones are too close together, because sometimes if your stones are too close, your rhinestone template material will rip. So in this basic mode, we have a lot of presets made. Like for example, like I said, on the pull down menu, it's set. The spacing is set. So the check overlaps is set, but if we go to advanced mode, I'll show you in a bit, we have some options we can change. And then you would say, well, if you have check overlap, what is only detect exact overlap? So let's just say, for example, this is larger than normal, but let's say this is a stone and this is a stone. Well, if your stone is too close, we might want to detect that, or if it's within a certain tolerance, we might want to check it. Even if it's overlapped like that, we'd want to detect it. But we might only also want to check if it's directly overlapping, and that's what this will do. So if you have this checked, it'll detect that there's a stone overlapping another one, but if you don't have it checked, it'll still detect it. But if you have it like this and have that checked, it will not detect that. So and I'll show you why that's important later on when we do some examples. Another thing is the create contour. That allows you to create a contour to the, if you notice right here it says to the inside. By default it'll contour it all the way to the end, and I'll just show you an example before we even do any stones. I'll just show you. So create contour, creates a contour to the end. And to determine the spacing between this, we just use mathematics. Whatever stone you chose here will make sure there's enough space in between the stones as they get laid across to each contour. So if you look at that, let me undo that and I'll show you the difference. Here's one, and I'm going to show you, if I take this and leave it as SS6 and say create contour, you'll see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If I change it to SS10, you'll see there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's because we're making space between the stones, not next to each other, but between them as they island in. So that's the create contour, and there's also, when you go to advanced, you'll see there's an outside option as well. Let me delete this and show you what does break shape do, what the break shape feature does. Right now, when you put the stones around it, it's going to just, this is all one object. It's going to lay the stones around the square or whatever shape you have, and sometimes you have problems with the corners. When you do blending an object along a path, you have problems with the corners. So what break shape does is it breaks into individual pieces, and I'll show you what that does. So I'll just do a quick example. Here's apply stones. As you can see right here, these stones right here are they're not exactly, this one's in the corner, this one's in the corner, this one is not, and this one is not. So what we could do is go up here and either add or remove stones, and see that makes that look a little better, but you can still see it's a little bit off. It's not perfectly straight here and here. So we could fix that very easily by using some of the alignment tools. But if we really wanted to do it exact, we can break the shape, and let me show you what this does. See how it's all separate pieces? And then what happens is now when you apply stones, you hit every corner. Well, one of the side effects of that is if you look at this, you'll notice that the cornerstones are overlapping each other. So what you have to do is, let me blend the path, or sorry, clear the path. What we do is we say check overlap, but I don't really care about the spacing between them. I just want to look for overlapping exactly, and that's what this right here, only detect exact overlap does. So when I do that, it says, hey, I found some here. Do you want to delete them? And I say yes. If you say no, it'll just leave them there. Which I'll say no, so you'll just see that they're there. So let me highlight that, check overlap, and this time I'll say yes, and now they're gone. So that's what the break shape does. It allows for finding exact corners. Apply stones, as you can see, it will apply the stones. Clear blend path, what that does is when you have, let me see, it doesn't matter. You take this, apply the stones, you have a path there. As you can see, there's a path there. And that's what allows you to, add and remove stones here, is because you have an object on a path. Well, before you're ready to send those to your cutter or start moving them around, you need to clear that blend. So you click this, clear the blend, and now they're individual, and you can do what you want to. So let's let me break the shape real fast so I can show you a couple other features. And like I said, we'll do more designing in a bit. So what this feature does is, let me apply some stones here and clear that path. So I'm just going to delete some of these here. So let's say, for example, we wanted that to be evenly spaced. This is horizontal, this is vertical. That's what these two buttons do. So if I do that and hit horizontal, it spaces them out evenly. It's the same feature as if you go up here the long route. It's just a shortcut way of doing it. And it works the same way as if they were this way. Instead of this way, we're going to use the vertical spacing. And you can see it spaces them nice and easy. So it's easy. So it's a quick way of fixing something. Let's say you remove some stones because they're too tight. You can respace them by using those two, horizontal and vertical. So then you might want to say, well, what is alignment? Alignment is the same thing as if I hit E. Whoops, sorry. If I hit C and centered them, that's what this does. So you can highlight these and say vertical alignment. It just puts them all straight. Same thing. Let me go back to this direction. If you do the alignment, horizontal alignment, it'll just align them in a straight line. So that's what these options do. Select similar allows you to look for the same type of stone. So for example, let's say I have this, but these are going to be all orange, and you're trying to do a count, or you want to select them or move them out of the way. Let's say I'm just gonna make a sandwich out of this here. So if I have these stones here and these stones here, and I want to count all these, of course I can highlight these and say there's 8 there and 8 here. But what I could do is I could say select similar, and it says choose the object to match. And if I click this, it tells me it found 16 shapes, and now they're actually all together. So that way, if I wanted to easily change them to blue or combine them or group them, so now they're all one and I can move them around together. It's just a way of doing that. So I can select similar, click on the object to match. It says it found 8, and that's what these 8 are here. So it's a way of, if you have stones surrounded by the ones, and it'll find it by the size. It'll look for the same size and color, and that's what select similar does. So I'll get into this special effect, spread effect and stone decrease as well, and what this advanced does. What the advanced does is when you click it, you're going to notice the stone size here disappears. You're going to see another option here. And what this, and also gives a choice for international people to do it in millimeters. If I click millimeters, it changes the value here, and now you're in millimeter mode. Go back, you're back into inches. So you have a stone size here. So for people who don't want to use these presets of 0.127, you can go this to 0.130. If this one here, when this is turned off, it'll always contour to the center, all the way to the center. So if you see that. So let's say you didn't want to do that, you just want to contour 2, you can turn on the advanced mode here, put 2, and then hit contour. Oops, choose the object, contour, and it only does 2 contours. Same thing about to the outside. So this outside, you just choose instead of inside, outside, create contour, it does 2 to the outside because it's getting the value here. contour space, that's how far each one of these should be from each other. So for example, let me make 2 of these. If I say 0.025 and I do the contour, let's do 4 contours. Move this guy down. If I to the outside 0.025 and I create contour, that's what the spacing is between this. If I went and I said 0.3 and then I did this one here, you're going to see they're a little bit, it's a little bit spaced more than this one was. So this size is 2.8 and this one is 2.7. Just a little bit of difference there, but you can change. That's what this contour space is, how far each contour is from each other. So let me delete that. So stone space, that's the same thing here. So if I do this and I apply stones, this is going to do 0.025 up in between the stones. So watch. So that's what this spacing is here, is just 0.025. If I change it to, watch, let me do let's do 0.606 and apply stones, the spacing here is much bigger. That's what this value does here. So undo this. And overlap space, this is what to check for. So when I do my stone spacing, for example, let's break the shape here and apply stones, clear the blend path, and then check for overlap and delete those. So now if I uncheck this, since these are 0.025 right here, that was when I set them down, this overlap space, when I say, hey, check to see if there's any overlaps, it's going to use a 0.02 check. So if I check for overlap, it says, hey, do you want to delete any red? There's none. So you can say yes or no, it doesn't matter. They didn't find any. Now if I took this guy and moved him a little closer and did the same check, you should see check overlap. It says, hey, I found one. And the reason I give you the option to delete it or not delete is because maybe I don't want to delete it. I just want to fix it, so I can delete. So I can just go there and fix the stone. So, and like I said, if it was up here, I could easily take this and remember my spacing. There, fix it just like that, and I can apply the same color if I want. Here, I could either change the color back, or I can highlight all these and choose green again, or sorry, this color here. Wrong color. Oops, fix that there. So that's what these advanced choices do. And like I said, it also to the outside, and the reason why this is important here, the advanced, it goes with the spread effect, and I'll show you how to do that. Like I said, we'll do more examples. I'll go over this again individually. This is just a quick overview of what it can do. Let's take a box here, let's make it like 4 inches, or 3 or 4 inches. Let's make that 4 by 4. Okay. So what happens here is some people like that spread effect, and it kind of makes some cool patterns. What I could do is I could take this number of contours to like 8, and then say to the outside, create the contours. Now what I want to do is I want to apply stones, but I want to check the box to say do the spread effect, and then this is how many stones it's going to decrease, and you'll see what this does here. So right now let's do 5 and see how it looks. Apply the stones, and then I'm going to clear the blend, and you got this kind of pattern here. Now I'm going to undo that. I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to change it to 3 and apply stones. I guess I should have kept the other one so you could see it. Let me make a couple of these so you can see what the difference is. I'll make one here, one there, and I'll just change the number so you can kind of see what it looks like. So I'll do a 2. Oops. Apply stones. I'll do let's do a 4 here. Apply stones, and let's do a 6. Okay, and then I'll take all these and I'll clear the blend so you can see what it looks like. So just by decreasing that number, you can see that the pattern looks slightly different in each one. That one, and this one. So that's how you can use the, that's how people are doing some of the circles and the different spread effects. Like I said, and it works for, you know, different shapes too. I can take a circle, do 10 of those, create the contour to the outside, and let's do a 4, apply the stones, and then break that apart. You have this kind of different patterns. So anyways, that's a quick overview, and of course, you know, about just tells you the version, company information. Help will give you a little bit of information about what basic rhinestone outline, the fill, the alignment, spacing, how to use each thing. Like, you know, that's the options that are there. And I think that's about it. You know, it's like I said, I'm trying to make it really simple and basic to do most of what you need to do. And I'll make some more videos that kind of get in depth more. Like we'll do some examples or make some designs. Okay.